Hey everybody, I was recently scrolling through my TikTok and saw a young lady named Danielle coming out and saying, "Hey, I was at Journey of the Heart with Jill and Jana as my counselors," and she was giving us a little insight into Jill and also into her dealings with Bill Gothard. So she showed a few pictures of herself, and just to make sure she was legit, I went and I found Facebook records that she did indeed go to Journey of the Heart. So I thought it would just be interesting to share her experiences on those TikToks here.
Hi guys, this is my story time about how I grew up in the same cult as the Duggar family from 19 Kids and Counting. First, I just want to say thank you for all the kind words and support on my last video. I never would have thought it would have blown up like it did, so thank you guys. So my parents joined the cult IBLP, which stands for Institute of Basic Life Principles, I think in like the early 2000s. And then they left around the time that the allegations about Bill Gothard, the leader of the cult, came out. A lot of people are asking if the documentary was accurate, and while I think some parts were exaggerated, overall I'd say it was very accurate, and watching it was like an out-of-body experience. I was homeschooled my whole life, and I have 7 siblings. We even use the same exact homeschool curriculum that the Duggars used, the wisdom booklets, which was shown in the documentary. We were also all blanket trained, and I almost spit out my drink at that part. We went to all the conferences, and my brothers were in the alert military thing. When I became an adult, I started looking back on my childhood and thinking, was that normal? Like, is that how other people grew up? I feel like that might have been a cult. The whole time I was watching Shiny Happy People, my mouth just kept dropping and dropping, and I turned and looked to my husband and said, that was definitely a cult. The documentary was really hard to watch at certain parts. It was very triggering, but overall I feel like it was very validating for me. When I was 16, my parents sent me to Journey of the Heart, which was in Northwoods, and it was shown in episode 4 of the documentary. It was like an extremely rigid church camp, and my camp counselors were none other than Jana and Jill Duggar. So I lived with the Duggar girls for 10 days and got to know them really, really well. I was even invited to Jill's wedding, although I did not go. I have nothing negative to say about the Duggar girls. They are some of the most sweetest, genuine girls that I ever met. There was one time where these 2 girls at the camp were bullying me because I had my ears pierced and I was allowed to wear earrings. And I remember that Jill stepped in and defended me to them. Jill was by far my favorite, and she was just a very down-to-earth person, so it didn't surprise me at all that she was the one shown in the documentary that's coming out and speaking about everything that happened. So I'm running out of time, and I still have like a million more stories that I could share. So if you guys want to hear more, or there's specific things you want me to talk about, please comment and let me know. Hi guys, I'm back with another story time, and this one's going to be about my experience at Journey to the Heart, which is the IBLP camp where the Duggar girls, Jana and Jill, were my camp counselors. So they talked about this in episode 3 of the Shiny Happy People documentary on Amazon Prime. So I was there 10 days. This was my team that I lived with the entire time. So I'm the one right here in like the brown skirt, and then Jana and Jill are on the ends. Most of the time at the camp, you just go to sermons or talks and study the Bible. I remember one day they forced us to fast so we couldn't eat anything all day long. And I got in huge trouble because I thought you just couldn't eat any food all day long. I thought that was fasting, but no, you couldn't eat anything or like drink anything that was not water. So I had the bright idea to make hot chocolate for myself and another girl in the house, and almost got sent to the prayer room for that one. The weirdest thing of the whole experience of Journey to the Heart is the private interview that everyone is required to do. So every girl at the camp has to sign up to have a private interview with Bill Gothard, who is the leader of the IBLP cult. And I remember thinking how uncomfortable that made me. Like, I just had a really bad feeling about it. I didn't want to sit alone in a room with him and talk to him privately. So I thought, there's no way out of all these hundreds of girls they're gonna know if I sign up for this or not. He won't know. So one day after he finished giving us like a sermon talk thing, I was sitting towards the back of the room, and he finishes his talk and looks straight at me. And he starts walking across the room and he puts his hand on my shoulder and looks me in the eyes and says, "I don't think I've done a private interview with you yet." And I was like, oh my God, no. So then he asked me, "Well, do you have time now? Can you just stay behind and we'll do the private interview now?" And what was I supposed to say? So I did. In the documentary, they brought up how he would interview girls and ask them really inappropriate questions. And I can say from firsthand experience that is true. He asked me very personal and inappropriate questions that no grown man should be asking a 15-year-old girl privately at any point in time. I currently work as a social worker now, so I know that was grooming. I remember he also asked me like what kind of music I listened to, and back then I was 15, so it was literally like Taylor Swift and One Direction. And he told me any music with drums, even Christian music, is satanic worship, and if I did not repent, then I would not be saved. So he made me get on my hands and knees and pray after him, asking God for forgiveness for that. Here's another picture of me with Jana and Jill. This is me. There's Jill. There's Jana. I had pantyhose on my head. Don't ask me why. I was sheltered and homeschooled my whole life. But yeah, if you guys want to hear more story times, let me know.